El imperfecto is one of the past tenses in Spanish. The imperfecto is used to talk about things we used to do in the past, such as I used to go to my grandma's house every weekend. The used to means either 1, I don't do it now, but I used to do it in the past, or 2, I used to do it habitually more than once in the past. The other past tense, which we'll learn later, is for things and actions that we did only once in the past. For example, I went to Disney World last summer. It was once, it wasn't repeated, so that would be the other past tense. So the imperfecto, the one we're learning right now, is used to. So it was repeated in the past. Our endings for the AR verbs are aba, abas, aba, abamos, abais, and aban. What are the two things that you noticed first about these endings? 1, there's an accent only on the nosotros form, abamos, and the yo form and the he-she form are the same, aba, aba. So all the forms in the imperfect tense in the yo and in the he-she usted are the same. So that just means we need to be specific in our context by saying yo hablaba or él hablaba. So let's give you an example. When I say endings, whenever we conjugate a verb, let's say we have the verb hablar, to talk, hablar. So we have our verb. Next thing we do to conjugate is we erase the ending and we add our new ending. So if I want to say I used to talk, I would pick aba, because that's the yo form ending, and I'd say hablaba. You used to talk then would be hablabas. He, she, or you formal used to talk, hablaba. Remember, I'm just taking off the AR of hablar. We used to talk, hablábamos, don't forget your accent. Y'all used to talk, so this is the Spain form, hablabais. And they used to talk, or you guys used to talk, would be hablaban. So you see one verb all completed. And so these are just the endings. ERI are endings, so think of verbs like escribir or comer. The endings are ia, ias, ia, íamos, iais, and ian. What do we notice about these endings? Yep, the yo form and the he-she form or the usted form are still the same. So ia and ia. So again, we have to be specific on who we're talking about. And every single one gets an accent. So the first I in all the endings get an accent. So let's use the verb comer. So if I wanted to say I used to eat, I'm going to have to use the ending comía. So remember the verb comer. What's the first step I have to do to conjugate? I have to take off my ending, which would be the ER. Gone. I have to add my new ending. So again, if it was I used to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day for lunch, I would say comía. You used to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch, comías. He used to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch, comía. We used to eat, comíamos. Y'all used to eat, so again our Spain form, comíais. And they used to eat would be comían. So these are your normal verbs. So let me give you an example, one of each, AR, ER, and IR. So here we have our AR verb, trabajar. Do you remember what that one means? To work. So repeat it with me at home while I'm saying them. Trabajaba is I used to work. Trabajabas, you used to work. Trabajaba, he, she, or you formal used to work. Trabajábamos, we used to work. Trabajabais, y'all used to work. And trabajaban, they used to work. So there's your AR verbs. And here's our comer again, so that's our ER verb. So I used to eat, comía. Repeat it, comía. Comías. comía, comíamos, comíais, comían. And now here's an IR verb example, vivir. Do we remember what that one means? To live. So I could say, I used to live in Wisconsin. Vivía. Repeat it. Vivía. Vivías. Would be you used to live. Vivía. He, she used to live. Vivíamos. We used to live. Vivíais. Y'all used to live. And vivían. They used to live. So again, don't forget your accents. The AR only gets it in the we form, and the ER, IR verbs get it in every single form, an accent on that first I. So let's look at irregulars. The nice thing about the imperfect tense is there are only 3 irregulars. So our first one, which you can probably guess, is ser, because ser is always irregular. So in order to say I used to be, it would be era. So again, the English of that is I used to be. So think about saying like, when I was a kid, I used to be mischievous. So era traviesa. Eras, you used to be. Oops. You used to be. He used to be, or she, or you formal, is era, just like the yo. Éramos is we used to be. Erais, y'all, so that vosotros, Spain one, used to be. Eran, they or you guys used to be. So repeat them with me. Era, eras, era, éramos, notice the accent, erais, and eran. So that's your first irregular. Any guesses on another irregular? Think of another verb that's always crazy, doesn't follow any rules. Maybe you guessed it, ir, to go. So instead of the voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van in the present tense, we get iba. So what would that be? I used to go. So like my first example, I used to go to my grandma's house every Sunday. Ibas, you used to go. Iba, he, she, you formal used to go. Remember when I say you formal, I'm thinking you're talking to your principal or somebody that's older than you, you're showing respect. Íbamos, we used to go. Ibais, y'all used to go. And iban, they used to go. Or you guys used to go. So notice again, the only accent is the we form, íbamos. So far, in our last irregular and this irregular, the only accent is in the we form. Now the most common mistake, and if you want to start in your notes, if you want to start in your notes, let me go back here. Star it. This is not an ending. This is not an ending to a verb, so don't think that this is the IR ending. It is not. It is a verb all on its own. It means to go. So there is no verb that exists that goes comiba. That isn't a word. So you have to remember that ir means to go. It's a word all on its own. It is not an ending to a word. You cannot add this to a verb. So iba, I used to go, all on its own. Our last irregular, not a real common irregular, is ver, to see. But you're looking at me and you're looking at the notes and you're saying, hey, that's not irregular. It's an ER verb and it gets the ER endings. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. So what makes it irregular? It's an ER verb, it gets the right endings, usually when it follows the rules, where it makes it irregular, not irregular. But what happened is, when I take my verb ver, what's the first step in conjugating? I have to take off my ending, which in this case is almost the whole word, so I'm left with just the V. I would put on my ending, but as you notice, the E is kept, so that's what makes it irregular. When you're doing ver, you have to keep the E. Veía, I used to see. Veías, you used to see or watch. Veía, he, she used to watch, etc., right? So keep that E. So remember, this would be I used to watch or see. You used to watch or see. He used to watch or see, or she, or you formal. We used to see. Y'all used to see or watch. And they or you guys. Used to see. So in that context, we could say, I used to watch cartoons every Saturday. So veía las caricaturas o los dibujos animados el sábado. So when I was a kid, cuando era niño. So veía, I used to see. So let's give it a try. I have a couple questions that you can try at home, and then I'll give you the answers afterwards, but give it a try first. So number 1, we used to play. Number 2, they used to eat at 9. Number 3, I used to run. Number 4, you used to have a cat. So it probably died, sorry. Number 5, he used to be nice. So try that out. How would you conjugate those verbs? So in number 1, think about your first step being, what's my verb? To play. What is to play in Spanish? Jugar. And you're going to say, ooh, jugar is a boot verb. What do I do with boot verbs? Well, the other nice thing about the imperfect is you can forget about your boot verbs. You don't have to worry about them. So if I have jugar, remember I'm going to take off my AR because that's how we conjugate. And I'm going to put on my ending. So who is playing? We used to play. So the used to comes by just using the ending. The imperfect tense means used to. So if we look at back at our notes at the AR endings, so because jugar is an AR verb, and we look at the we form, it's going to be jugábamos. And what am I missing? Accent, jugábamos. So notice 4 words in English, we used to play, becomes 1 word in Spanish, which is kind of nice. So now try, they used to eat at 9. So your verb again is to eat. In Spanish, comer. So I'm just going to give you the stem, com, because we're going to take off that ER to conjugate. Look back at your notes. What kind of verb is comer? ER verb. Now we're looking for they. So it's that last box on the right, the bottom one. Comían. And then at 9. A las 9. If I'm moving faster than you are, you can always pause my video so that you can have more time to think yours through. So I used to run. Think about your verb. Correr. So I'm going to give you the stem again. C-O-R-R, because we took off the ER so we could conjugate. Look back at your notes. ER verb. I. What is the I form for the imperfecto? Ia. So I used to run. Corría. Again, 4 words for 1 in Spanish. Corría. And if you want to be specific, because again, that could be he or she runs, you'd put the yo in front. Yo corría. You used to have a cat. What's my verb? To have. What's to have in Spanish? Tener. So we're going to take off the ER. So we just got ten. Now you're looking back at ER endings, and we have you. So again, remember, this is a boot verb too, but we don't have to worry about boot verbs or stem changing verbs in the imperfect. So the U ending for imperfects are tenías. So ias is our ending. So we added that to our stem. Tenías. You used to have a cat. Un gato. Tenías un gato. Maybe when you were little, so cuando eras niña. He used to be nice. Ooh, what's my verb? To be. So now you have a choice. Is it going to be ser or estar? Because both mean to be. So we're talking about being nice. Is that going to change overnight usually? If I say, Bob is nice, am I probably going to change my mind overnight? Most likely not. So that's permanent, so that's going to be ser. So look back at your notes. Where is ser in your notes? Is it an ER ending verb? Yes, but is it a regular? Yep, it's a regular. So he used to be. So I'm going to be specific here because remember the yo form and the el, ella, usted form are the same. So you have el, then used to be, era, like the detergent. El era, and then nice, simpático. Don't forget your accent on simpático. So we got 5 there. So jugábamos, comían a las 9, yo corría, tenías un gato, y él era simpático. So there's your imperfect. And if you ever wanted to practice more, you can always go to conjuguemos.com. Go to Spanish, and under there they have a bunch of verbs you can practice. So you just type in the imperfect, and there you go. You can practice some more. All right, there's the imperfect. If you have more questions, let me know.